In her book, My Grief Is Not Like Yours, author Theo Boyd shares her story of loss and learning to live through it. Theo is in Austin taking part in a panel at Bookwoman to discuss writing through grief. It is happening Wednesday night. She joins us today to talk more about it. Theo, good morning. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Is it okay to say I'm sorry for your loss? How do you feel when someone says that to you at this point?
I mean, you know, people really don't know what to say, and I learned that firsthand in July of 2019, and which is what stemmed the book and the title, My Grief Is Not Like Yours. Very well-intentioned people were coming up to me after my mom's accident and saying, you know, when I lost my mom, it took me, you know, and when I lost my mom, I did this. And I didn't really want to talk to anybody that hadn't lost their mom the way that I'd lost my mom, which was on the farm with a tractor, and my dad was driving it, and it was just a horrific accident.
Oh my goodness! Wow. So your mother passes in the year 2019, and then you are left to help your father pick up the pieces. Your father had been married to your mother for...
They were 6 months shy of their 50th.
Oh wow.
We were actually planning a big 50th anniversary celebration, so that drastically changed, and we're planning a funeral.
How did you deal with his grief along with your own?
I'm very glad that you asked that, because my dad was grieving inconsolably. I couldn't grieve. I had to put all of my grief on hold. So last year when my father passed, I started grieving my mom for the first time. And so I was grieving my dad, my mom, my marriage, my counselor. I lost a lot of people. And all those griefs kind of just came out when I didn't have to, I say, put on a show, but just hold my emotions in so that my father didn't hurt anymore. I didn't want to add to his pain.
When you didn't have to hold everything together in order for your father to be okay, you were trying to hold him up.
Right. I didn't want him to hurt anymore. I didn't want him to see that it had hurt his daughter as much as it did.
As we mentioned, you're in town to promote the book, but also at this panel happening tomorrow night, 7 to 8:30 p.m. at Bookwoman. It is a discussion about grief and the writing process. What is it that you hope to convey to those that attend, and how writing, maybe you don't have to be a well-known author.
Exactly.
You could just put it down on paper.
This is my very first book. I mean, I just started to heal by putting my words and my heart onto the page, and what I'm learning now is that that is helping others. So I just want people to realize they have a right to their own grief. They need to feel the way that they feel, and there's no blueprint for that. Grief is different for everyone, and I just want people to know they're not alone, and maybe by writing it down that can help. And I've got some exercises in the book that can help people, and after each chapter I ask questions back to the reader so that the reader can put their heart into the book and own the title for themselves. I didn't write the book so that it would be people reading just about my grief. I wrote the book with the intention that everybody that gets the book can own the title for themselves. And I needed that book, the book that hit me as hard as I'd been hit. So.
You're going to be joined on that panel by a number of other authors, including Janice Earhart, who wrote Mother of My Invention, a motherless daughter memoir, Paige Schilt, a Queer Rock Love, a family memoir, and others. This is going to be a pretty emotional evening, probably. I mean,
Yeah.
be ready to put your emotions on paper, or come, you know, with the armor off.
Exactly. And you know, for grievers, a lot of grievers are introverts. They don't want to express their grief outwardly, which is even harder to try to reach people. And that's why I'm going on the book tour and trying to bring hope and healing through this book, and going to the book event at Bookwoman and meeting with these other women. We're such a diverse group of women, but we've all written about a very common thing, which is grief.
And as you say, My Grief Is Not Like Yours. That is the title of your book.
Yes.
A big message there. You can catch up with our guest, Theo Boyd, at the event happening tomorrow night at Bookwoman at 5501 North Lamar from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Where can our viewers find you on social media?
ThinkTheo.com is my website, and on Facebook at Think Theo.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us,
Thank you so
Theo.
much for having me.
We'll be right back.